defenders, and they're going to want to do their best to create some turnovers here.
Clark, quickly! Clark, step back three. That one will go, and she's knocked down a pair.
With a hand in her face. Look at all the contact between Clark and LeCon.
And Clark hits a deep three!
Caitlin Clark stepped behind the arc and let it fly, then did it again and again. 5 3-pointers at roughly 50% from beyond the line. Clark pulls up and answers with another 3. 58.8% from the field overall, 25 points, and a performance so dominant that after the final buzzer she walked to the microphone and directly addressed the referees.
Clark launches and answers with a 3.
She stated that the official was trying to insert himself into the game. This was not a vague complaint, but a specific, on-the-record statement from a player who had just secured a win and still felt compelled to say it out loud.
Delay of game made no sense. They felt like Tyler wanted to assert himself into the game, and that was ridiculous. So
then came the moment nobody saw coming. Sophie Cunningham, in the closing minutes, knocked down 3 3-pointers and reminded everyone watching why she remains one of the most important players on this roster.
Not a point in the game he needed to call that. I went and got the ball, went off my foot off the scores table, and then he gave us a delay game, which is a team technical foul. So you can ask Tyler. I don't agree with that.
Aaliyah Boston delivered another double-double, while Kelsey Mitchell contributed 19 points of her own. The Indiana Fever secured an 85-75 victory over the Connecticut Sun.
Has Griner on her, which means Boston for the kick out. Another! Clark gets it to Boston. Cunningham.
A 5-game winning streak continues, and in the second half of this video we'll break down what happened in that fourth quarter and exactly what Caitlin Clark said that is already going viral across the internet. This is WNBA Radar. Subscribe and hit the like button right now, because this one is going places.
For Johnner. Kelsey Mitchell, same spot. One. And Hall, second chance opportunity. Boston, she's worked on that shot, and it shows.
Caitlin Clark put together a complete breakdown performance. 25 points on 10 of 17 shooting from the field, 58.8%, 5 of 10 from 3, 50%, along with 5 assists, 3 rebounds, and 1 block. She also picked up a technical foul and followed the game with a post-game statement that directly called out the officiating. With a true shooting percentage of 73.5%, it was an elite, dominant outing. The kind of stat line that only appears in the box score when a player is operating at the absolute peak of her abilities.
Caitlin Clark was awesome. To one, I swear to God, it was from 40. Long ass way.
Start with the threes, because they defined the game from the opening quarter. Clark consistently read Connecticut's defensive coverage on every possession, identifying the exact moment a defender's closeout was just a step too slow. The first 3 came at the top of the arc. 1 dribble pull-up, released before the contest could arrive. The second came off a wing screen, catching in rhythm and firing immediately. Her mechanics were so clean and so quick that defenders barely had time to leave the ground.
Oh, looked at the rim, gets it right back to Clark.
The third came in the second quarter when Indiana needed momentum, and Clark created it herself, stepping back off the dribble from well beyond the arc. It was the kind of range only she consistently tests in this league, and it was gone before the defense could even react.
And they're going to want to do their best to create some turnovers here. Clark, quickly, you can count it.
By halftime, Indiana led 47-38, and Clark's three-point shooting was the primary reason the margin reached double digits. The fourth and fifth threes came in the second half, just as Connecticut attempted to mount a comeback. Each time the Sun tried to cut into the lead, Clark responded immediately, catching skip passes in the corner, using a quick pump fake to shift the defender off balance, and releasing over the outstretched contest with a high release point that made her shots effectively uncontestable.
Shot clock down to 4. Here is Johnson. That one goes down.
Clark hit a step-back 3, another one going down with a hand in her face, and by that point Connecticut simply had no answer to be why the final whistle. Indiana had secured a 10-point victory, with Clark finishing 50% from 3 on 10 attempts. That's 50% from deep in a road game against a Connecticut Sun defense widely regarded as one of the most disciplined units in the WNBA. The number deserves to be emphasized because of what it represents. Her 5 assists reflected the same precision that has defined her best performances all season. Sharp pocket passes to Aaliyah Boston in motion. Skip passes to the corner for Cunningham delivered exactly on the catch point of the shooting motion. And drive-in kick reads to Kelsey Mitchell. Cutting along the baseline for easy finishes, IT was controlled. Efficient playmaking rather than high-volume distribution. Indiana finished with 19 turnovers as a team, including 6 from Clark, still too many, but the quality of her assists translated directly into points and consistently prevented Connecticut from fully loading up on her as a scorer. She also picked up a technical foul, and after the final buzzer, she made her feelings about the officiating unmistakably clear.
Clark, step back three. That one will go, and she's knocked down a pair.
With a hand in her...
She said the referee was trying to insert himself into the game. Not softened, not diplomatic, just a direct, on-the-record statement from a player who had already won the game and still chose to speak about the officiating afterward. Whatever the exact moment was that led to the technical foul, Clark's willingness to address it publicly reflects a player who has become increasingly comfortable speaking her mind regardless of consequence. The era of carefully managed messaging appears to be over. She says what she thinks, and in this case, her view of the officiating was clearly negative. Plus 15 on the floor. That was the on-off impact. When Clark was on the court, Indiana outscored Connecticut by 15 points. When she sat, that advantage largely disappeared. It remains one of the clearest indicators of her overall influence on the game to be why quarters. The game opened tightly. Connecticut led early by as many as 6 points, forcing Indiana to chase for much of the first period. Clark's early threes were essential in keeping Indiana within reach while Connecticut attacked the paint aggressively, finishing with 36 points inside over the course of the game. The second quarter belonged to Indiana, who outscored Connecticut 17-9 and took a 47-38 lead into halftime. Clark's perimeter shooting continued to stretch the defense, while Aaliyah Boston began asserting herself in the post, creating efficient interior scoring opportunities. The third quarter swung in Connecticut's favor, as they outscored Indiana 22-6 and tightened the game. Connecticut's ball pressure and transition attack forced turnovers, and they finished with 25 points off Indiana's mistakes, an area that kept them competitive despite the talent gap. But the fourth quarter told a different story entirely. Indiana responded with a 22-15 advantage, and Sophie Cunningham emerged as a decisive factor in closing the game out.
Delay of game made no sense. It felt like Tyler wanted to assert himself into the game, and that was ridiculous. And then he gave us a delay game, which is a team technical foul. So you can ask Tyler. I don't know.
Sophie Cunningham, the difference maker. She finished 4 of 5 from the field and 3 of 4 from three-point range, shooting 75% from deep and scoring 11 points. Her three-pointers in the fourth quarter, especially in the closing minutes, effectively shut the door on Connecticut's comeback attempt as the Sun made their run. Cutting into the lead and energizing the crowd, Indiana needed someone to stabilize the game. Cunningham delivered exactly that. 3 times from beyond the arc, she answered Connecticut possessions that had shifted momentum, draining shots that not only added points but completely changed the emotional rhythm of the game. Each make served as an immediate response, calming the environment, stopping the surge and restoring control. While advanced metrics can vary in interpretation, her efficiency and shot selection in limited minutes stood out as highly impactful. Caitlin Clark provided the gravitational force, drawing defensive attention and dictating perimeter spacing. Aaliyah Boston anchored the interior presence, rebounding and facilitating from the post. Cunningham functioned as the release valve, the player who punished defensive rotations with instant scoring when opportunities appeared. Boston also delivered another double-double performance with 13 points, 11 rebounds and 5 assists, along with 1 steal and a plus 16 plus-minus. While her shooting night, 6 of 13, 39%, was below her recent standard, her impact extended beyond scoring. Her rebounding was especially critical, with 9 of her 11 boards coming on the defensive end. Indiana's control of the glass prevented Connecticut from generating second-chance opportunities, holding them to 0 second-chance points despite 10 offensive rebound attempts. Boston's passing out of the post also remained effective, posting a strong assist-to-turnover ratio and consistently finding teammates when the defense collapsed. Combined with Clark's perimeter creation and Cunningham's shooting bursts, Indiana's structure becomes significantly harder to defend, capable of initiating offense from both inside and outside simultaneously.
Boston, Cunningham, hits a three!
But guys, it was Sophie at the end going banana. And in crunch time, it still took Sophie Cunningham showing up to win the game.
Kelsey Mitchell and Monique Billings also played key roles in the win. Mitchell finished with 19 points on 6 of 15 shooting, including 2 of 9 from three-point range, 22%. While the perimeter shot wasn't falling, she still found production elsewhere, adding 5 points in the paint and 5 made free throws, showing her ability to stay effective even on an off-shooting night. She also contributed 5 assists, highlighting a version of her game where scoring and playmaking operate together, making Indiana a much more dynamic offensive team. She finished at plus 11 on the floor. Monique Billings delivered another quietly impactful performance. She recorded 10 points on 3 of 5 shooting, a perfect 4 of 4 from the free throw line, along with 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks and 1 steal. Her plus 18 plus-minus was the second best on the team behind Clark, underscoring her overall impact. Advanced metrics reflected her efficiency as well, with a strong offensive rating that speaks to how effective Indiana is when she is on the court. Every time Billings checked in, Indiana's level of control noticeably improved. That kind of plus 18 differential against a competitive Connecticut team points to a player whose contributions extend well beyond the box score and deserve consistent minutes. Lexi Hall added 6 rebounds, including 3 on the offensive glass, continuing her high-energy presence despite a quiet shooting night. Her impact came through hustle plays, defensive activity, and timely passing in pick-and-roll situations. Zooming out, the Indiana Fever improved to 9-5 with 5 consecutive wins, firmly establishing themselves in playoff position. The momentum of this streak marks a significant shift from the early season doubts about whether this roster could compete at a high level at the same time. Clark's post-game comments about officiating are expected to become a major talking point. She directly criticized a referee for trying to insert himself into the game, a specific and pointed statement that goes beyond general frustration. The league has historically issued fines for far less direct remarks, so attention will now turn to whether any formal response follows. Clark finished with a strong overall stat line, elite shooting efficiency, a technical foul, and a post-game moment that added even more scrutiny to an already high-profile performance. With a 5-game winning streak and upcoming matchups against elite competition, Indiana's trajectory is clearly rising, and Clark's form remains central to everything they do.